He almost didn't click it. The link had been sitting in his inbox for 3 days, quiet and stubborn, like a thought he kept avoiding. It came from an unknown email address. No name, no message, just a blue hyperlink that looked ordinary enough to ignore. But something about it kept pulling his eyes back every time he opened his phone. That evening, rain tapped softly against the window, the kind that made the world feel paused. Aarav sat alone in his small apartment, a cup of cold tea forgotten on the table beside him. His life had shrunk into routines lately. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. Days blurred into each other, until even memories started feeling recycled. He sighed and opened his email again. The link stared back at him. He hovered his thumb over it, hesitating. It was probably nothing, spam or worse. But there was a strange familiarity to it, like recognizing a face in a crowd without knowing where you'd seen it before. He clicked. The video loaded slowly, buffering against the weak internet connection. The screen remained black for a few seconds, long enough for him to consider closing it. Then suddenly, it flickered to life. It was him. Aarav froze. The video showed a younger version of himself, maybe 5 years ago. He was sitting on the steps outside his old college, laughing at something someone behind the camera had said. His hair was longer, his face lighter, unburdened. There was a spark in his eyes that felt foreign now. He leaned closer to the screen, his heart beginning to pound. The camera shifted, revealing who was holding it. Mira. Aarav's breath caught in his throat. She smiled from behind the lens, her voice soft and teasing. "Say something for your future self." He watched as his younger self rolled his eyes, grinning. "Future me probably doesn't care about this." Mira laughed, a sound so warm it felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Just say something. Humor me?" He sighed dramatically, then looked straight into the camera. "If you're watching this," he said, "I hope you didn't become boring. I hope you're still doing things that scare you. I hope you didn't lose this." The video paused on his smiling face. Aarav felt something twist painfully inside him. He remembered that day, the way the sun had felt on his skin, the smell of wet grass after a sudden drizzle, the way Mira had looked at him like he was something worth holding on to. The video resumed. "Okay, my turn," Mira said, flipping the camera toward herself. Her face filled the screen, bright and alive. "Hi, future Aarav. If you're watching this, it means I finally convinced you to open this stupid link." Aarav let out a shaky breath, a tear already forming at the corner of his eye. "I don't know where we'll be when you see this," she continued, her voice softening. "Maybe we'll still be together. Maybe we won't, but I hope you remember something." She paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "You were never meant to live a small life." The screen went black. Aarav stared at his reflection in the darkened display. His chest felt tight, like something long buried was clawing its way back to the surface. He hadn't thought about Mira in years. Not properly. He had trained himself not to, because thinking about her meant remembering everything he had lost. They had been inseparable once. Two people chasing dreams too big for the world they lived in. She wanted to travel, to tell stories through her camera, to capture moments that others overlooked. He wanted everything. Success, meaning something that made his existence feel significant. For a while, they had moved in the same direction. Then life happened. Opportunities came, but not the kind they had imagined. Aarav got a stable job in a corporate office. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well. It was safe. Mira, on the other hand, refused to settle. She took risks, chased uncertain paths, believed in things that didn't come with guarantees. They started arguing. "You're giving up," she had said one night, her voice trembling. "I'm being realistic," he had replied, frustration creeping into his tone. "Realistic doesn't mean giving up on who you are, and dreaming doesn't mean ignoring reality." The space between them had grown from that point on, slowly, painfully, until one day it became too wide to cross. She left. No dramatic goodbye. No final attempt to fix things. Just a quiet departure, like a tide pulling away from the shore. And Aarav let her go. He told himself it was for the best. That love wasn't enough if it came with instability, with uncertainty. He convinced himself he had made the right choice. But watching that video now, he wasn't so sure anymore. His phone buzzed in his hand, snapping him out of his thoughts. A new email from the same unknown address. His fingers trembled as he opened it. Another link. This time there was a message. If you're ready, watch this too. Aarav didn't hesitate. The second video began immediately. It showed a different place, a different time. A small cafe somewhere unfamiliar. The camera was set on a table, angled toward Mira. She looked older, but still carried that same light within her. She smiled softly, but there was something in her eyes. Something heavier. "Hi," she said quietly. "I don't know if you'll ever see this, but if you do, it means I finally gathered the courage to send it." Aarav's heart pounded harder. "I've been traveling," she continued. "Different cities, different countries. I've seen things I used to only dream about. And for a while, I thought that would be enough." She looked down, her fingers tracing the edge of the table. "But there's something I need to admit." She took a deep breath. "I kept looking for you in everything." Aarav felt his chest tighten. In sunsets, in crowded streets, in quiet moments when the world felt too big and too empty at the same time. "I kept thinking, maybe if I find the right place, the right moment, it'll fill the space you left behind." Her voice broke slightly. "But it doesn't work like that, does it?" A long silence followed. "I don't regret leaving," she said finally. "And I don't regret loving you either. But I wish we had been braver." A tear slipped down Aarav's cheek. "I'm sending you this because I don't want us to just be a memory that fades away. You mattered. You still matter." She smiled faintly. "If there's even a small part of you that remembers what we had, come find me." The screen went black again. Aarav sat there unmoving, his mind racing, his heart caught between the past and the present. For years, he had convinced himself that some doors were meant to stay closed, that certain chapters ended for a reason. But now, those beliefs felt fragile, like glass, ready to shatter. He looked around his apartment. The same walls, the same furniture, the same life he had been living on autopilot. It suddenly felt suffocating. He stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. His pulse was loud in his ears, a steady reminder that he was still alive, still capable of making choices. For the first time in a long time, he felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not doubt. Something else? Hope. He grabbed his jacket, his keys, his phone. He didn't have a plan, didn't know exactly where to start. But for once, that uncertainty didn't scare him. As he stepped out into the rain, he realized something. He had spent years avoiding risks, avoiding pain, avoiding anything that might disrupt the fragile stability he had built. But in doing so, he had also avoided living. The rain soaked through his clothes as he walked, but he didn't care. Each step felt like breaking, free from something invisible that had been holding him back. He didn't know if he would find Mira. He didn't know if things could ever be the same. But he knew one thing. He wasn't the same person who had let her go without a fight. And maybe that was enough. Maybe sometimes life gives you a second chance. Not to fix everything, but to try again, with a heart that finally understands what it's willing to lose and what it's not. Aarav smiled faintly as he disappeared into the rain, carrying with him the weight of the past and the fragile, beautiful possibility of something new.